All right, here we are, Metro Slapshot here. We have an exclusive guest today from one of our neighbor channels, we'll call it, HartlandSportz. I used to be part of that channel, but it is now run by our guest today, which is Eric. Eric is a huge Philadelphia fan and happens to be the spotlight of our topic today, which we were talking about the Philadelphia Flyers. So, Eric, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for talking about the channel. I'm excited to be on this one for, a video for now, but we're gonna ideally get together more and do more collaborations like this. Looking forward to it. And of course, when you set the topic of today's video was the Philadelphia Flyers, I knew I had to be on this video. I mean, there's so much to say with the Flyers. There's so much to say with the Flyers. That's for sure. Not a lot of good.
Yeah. So, lately they have hit a bump in the road, which we'll get to in a second. But let's just quickly just talk about Eric's channel happens to cover, as you know, this channel, Metro Slapshot, that just started off, covers all videos on hockey whatsoever. And Eric's channel is a little more diverse and covers, football, baseball, hockey, and he has all these other history of videos, player bio videos. So if you guys want to check out his channel, I'll leave a link in the description, as it'll also be featured on the channels on my homepage. So let's get right into it, Eric. Obviously, the Flyers have hit a bump in the road, and right now, obviously, they're not in the playoff spot, but they can certainly be in one if they put some more wins together, because we are still a few months away from the end of the regular season. Having the Flyers lately, within the past week or two, gotten rid of Alain Vigneault, their head coach, and replaced him with Mike Yeo. He's already got a win under his belt, and so I'm curious, your whole analysis of, the team, I guess, from the beginning of the season up until now, and then, where you see them going forward, like whether you think they'll make a good push for the playoffs, or do you think they're going to have some rebuilding to do within their roster?
So, I mean, I'm going to start off by saying this. The last team that had Mike Yeo coach for them ended up winning the Stanley Cup that year, but it was because they fired him. So, I mean, take that with a grain of salt. That's the best thing to say. Other than that, I mean, I think the Flyers, with how they're currently playing, are kind of going in the wrong direction. This is a team that shouldn't be playing as poorly as they are, but unfortunately they are. There's another YouTuber in the platforms, name's the Hockey Guy, and before this year he was doing his predictions, and he said it's the other year. The Flyers always have a good year, then a bad year. Last year was a bad year, so this year will be a good year. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. The Flyers started off pretty good. I mean, yeah, their first game they lost to Vancouver, and then I know they played Seattle, and they beat the snot out of Seattle, for lack of a better phrase, because it was a very physical game. But then they kind of have been like teetering. Obviously, they just had a 10-game losing streak. They have broken it in back-to-back nights where they beat Vegas and Arizona, both on the road, back-to-back nights. Very happy that they beat Vegas, pulled off an upset. But the Flyers, I mean, there's just so many different things that's wrong with this team. I mean, everyone's underperforming outside of maybe Cam Atkinson, but he has cooled off considerably. I mean, right now, Couturier is still a strong defensive player, but his offensive numbers aren't there. Konechny hasn't been doing as much as he has in the past. There's concerns with that. Scott Lofton is currently on the top line, getting good minutes. That is concerning to me. Scott Lofton is a good role player, but I don't want him on my top line. Claude Giroux, he's better suited for the line 2, second line where he is currently. So, can't complain about that. Cam Atkinson, like I mentioned before, he's been doing great. Morgan Frost, love Morgan Frost. Very happy that they got him back. He's still trying to rehab a little bit. He's still getting into the grind of things. He missed most of last year. I think he only appeared in 2 games due to a shoulder injury that he suffered right after he came back to the team. I'm not going to discuss every player on this team, but James Van Riemsdyk and Kevin Hayes are both overpaid, especially for third liners. And Oscar Lindblom has really taken a step back after how great he was the year he had gotten cancer. So, that was the 2019-2020 season. He started off that year great. Then he was diagnosed. And, yeah, defensively, I mean, Ivan Provorov is never going to be an offensive guy, but he's not doing anything on the offensive side of the puck. Sanheim and Ristolainen both haven't been producing. Ristolainen's been a welcomed defensive presence too, but they gave up too much to get him. I know after that trade was announced, I was talking to Patrick and I said that was a bad trade for the Flyers. They gave up way too much for Ristolainen. You actually might have been laughing at me when they made that trade because of how much they gave up to Buffalo for Ristolainen. Keith Yandel, look, at this point, let Keith Yandel get the Iron Man streak and then call it, because he has been a liability and then some. I mean, this team does have some key players who are hurt. Ryan Ellis, of course, is the big one. He's a great player, but he hasn't really produced all that much this year just because he's been hurt for such a long time. Derek Brassard had a hot start to the year, specifically on the power play and penalty kill, but he's hurt. Joel Farabee, probably the other big name. He's currently hurt. So it's not good for the Flyers. There's so many different injuries that they've been dealing with. The goaltending, Carter Hart has his games. I don't know if he has his confidence back. Martin Jones has been one of those guys too, where he's been streaky. I mean, he got his first win in over a month after he looked like he was going to be a very strong backup. He was among the league leaders in goals against average for like the first couple weeks of the year, but we all knew that was a fluke. There's a reason the Sharks let him go. There's a reason the Bruins traded him for literally nothing at one point. So, I mean, the Flyers, I think at this point too, they're just disheartened. There's just so many people are like, all right, this is ridiculous. This team sucks right now. So what is getting the fans to go to the games? The fact that you have Claude Giroux and he's a pending free agent. I mean, what are you going to do? Try to plug G? Like, oh, hey, guys, go see Giroux. It's his last season with the Flyers. No, you don't want to do that because that's just stupid. It's a tough thing. It's a tough thing. And then it's one of those situations where the Flyers are in a bad position. Now, you had mentioned before how I think they're going to do. So currently they sit second to last in the Metropolitan. They do sit above the New York Islanders, which is a bit of a surprise to me. And yes, they played a few more games than the Islanders, but I'm just shocked that the Islanders are doing so bad. I'm shocked that the Flyers are doing so bad. But I don't know if the Flyers realistically can rebound from where they're at. I think it's too early to say, end the year, rebuild. It's way too early. But if someone gives me a call for someone like James Van Riemsdyk and offer me a couple assets for him, or Kevin Hayes, I'm answering that phone and I'm taking that deal as long as they're not expecting me to retain all this salary. I was hoping JVR would be picked in the expansion drafts and then the Flyers would have more money to use in free agency. Didn't work out, but it's just there's so many problems with the Flyers right now. Have you yourself seen anything in particular with how the team's been playing that has caught your eye, or do you think it's just like I was saying, everyone's just struggling, and the problem is like the lack of offensive support is shaking the confidence of Carter Hart and Martin Jones?
Right. I would agree with what you said in the last part, because Carter Hart has been iffy here and there. I mean, obviously with the team's low success in the past 2 or 3 weeks, it's been an impact on him himself and him, his confidence boost and going game by game. I was just looking at the schedule for the Flyers coming up. The next 3 games, 2 of the teams they play are New Jersey and Ottawa. So there is chances for them to rack up some points here. Yes, they are second to last in the Metro, like you said, but they're only 3 games out of the last playoff spot, which is currently occupied by the Bruins. Flyers currently have 24 points, and the Bruins are sitting at 30 there. So, like you said, it's too early to tell whether or not they'll make the playoffs or not. But, hopefully with these coaching changes that they made, things will get better and there'll be more confidence boosts within the team. And then that will give Hart, more confidence himself to play. So like I said, the schedules of tomorrow they play the Devils, Thursday they play Montreal, then Ottawa, and then it does get a little iffy because they do have a tougher schedule after that when they play Washington, Pittsburgh, Seattle, San Jose, Los Angeles. So we'll see, because all it takes is for them to win one of those games, and that will be another confidence booster that could get them right back into where they are. And just like you said, just on the side comment, I am surprised that the Islanders are lower than they are in the standings, but that's the Islanders themselves, and they have their own issues as a franchise. But with that being said, the Flyers are not like the Buffalo Sabres riding a 10-year, drought, because the Flyers, as we know, made the playoffs last year, and they haven't been a team lately in the past decade that's gone 5 seasons or more without a playoff appearance. So they're definitely not close to being out of it in terms of the other teams in the Eastern Conference that have had these lull games and less confidence boost. So
Flyers,
what was that?
sorry, the Flyers did miss the playoffs last year. The year before was the year where they made it.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. They had just missed the playoffs last year, though, right?
Yeah, they were close, but not close enough.
Right outside the wild card or something.
Sixth. Yeah, they finished sixth in the Metropolitan. Well, whatever they called the division last year, the whatever.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Okay, my bad. But regardless, though, they made it the year before, so there's there's nothing to be afraid of. If you're a Flyers fan, there's nothing to be down about. Because, like I said, this is not a franchise that's gonna go 5, 6, 7 seasons in a row, because the team itself and the organization, the front office people are not people that are going to be Buffalo Sabres and make dumb decisions of getting rid of players that could be your star players, and and then you're going to have players within the franchise, more than one, that's going to be opting out of the team and all this stuff. I do have one more question. I know obviously you talked about the team going forward. Is there any pending moves that you want to see within the near future of this season before the trade deadline, or anything that you think may happen?
So one of the big things, of course, is Drew is a pending free agent. I would love to see the Flyers sign him, lock him up to like a 2-year, 3-year extension. I know that's not a trade, but it's something I want to see. Drew's one of the main reasons I'm a Flyers fan. So I definitely don't want to see him leave the team. That would be that would be painful for me as a fan. Other than that, I mean, I'd like to see Keith Yandel get the Iron Man streak as a Flyer, but if they're going to scratch him, I would prefer to trade him away, get into a team that's going to use him so he can get the Iron Man streak there. I'd love to see JVR or Kevin Hayes get traded away just to free up some cap space for the future, give some more of the young guys in the minors some spots, some starts, some experience on the ice, and keep Morgan Frost out there. I love what Morgan Frost can do. He has a lot of potential. But honestly, I don't think this team should be buying any players at the deadline. I don't think they should be trading away any assets. If they're going to make a trade, they should be trying to get rid of someone or making an extremely minor move to get like a fourth line, Derek Brassard type of player. But that's pretty much my view from where we sit at this point in time.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. I mean, obviously, worst case scenario this year, let's say the Flyers don't make the playoffs. They have a lot to look forward to, because whether it's making trades to, like you said, to free up the cap space, or their minor league system that we both know, because we've been to a game before in Lehigh Valley that has a really solid program down there that promises the future for a lot of players there with Philadelphia. So, do you have any last comments regarding the Flyers or anything like that before we sign off?
I'm double checking one thing real quick, because I think there aren't a lot of like major names that are pending free agents right now for the Flyers outside of Giroux, but I think Ristolainen might be as well, which I'd probably try to get him locked up as well. Using that lovely app of Spot Track. I don't know if you've ever used it before. I love Spot Track. Nope, Mr. Line is not a free agent, so there's not a lot of players yet that are up there, unless I clicked the wrong one. I did click the wrong one. Okay, yeah, so Ristolainen and Claude Giroux are the two big names. So hopefully they can re-sign both of them, because they gave up so much for Ristolainen. But I don't have a lot more to say about the Flyers. It's just been an extremely disappointing season so far. That's why I haven't covered it on my channel. I haven't covered hockey a lot. I've been just completely disheartened by hockey. I've been so enthralled by other sports, which I'm not going to get into right now, but there's just so much to say with the Flyers. It's been a disgrace. It's been a disgrace.
All right, so that's going to conclude this video. Thanks, Eric, for joining me. Eric, once again, from Heartland Sports. Channel link is in the description. I'll put it in there. And we'll definitely see Eric probably in a future video sometime, whether it's, another Philly related Flyers video, or some other sport hockey video that he'd want to participate in. So once again, Eric, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
All right, with that, we'll leave you and we'll sign off. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, rate, subscribe, and stuff, and we'll talk to you guys soon.